Why monotheism is impractical. Introduction. What if the real challenge with believing in one God has nothing to do with God at all, but everything to do with us? Across cultures and religions, monotheism is presented as the highest spiritual ideal. One God, one truth, one ultimate reality. Yet when we look at lived human experience, something doesn't quite add up. People who claim belief in one God often feel close to God one day, abandoned the next. God appears loving in one moment, harsh in another. Faith rises, collapses, and rises again. So here's the uncomfortable question. If God is one, why does our experience of God feel so many? 1. The problem is not theology, but the human mind. The failure of monotheism in daily life does not arise from flawed scriptures or wrong doctrines. It arises from the constantly shifting inner states of the human mind. Human beings do not live in one emotional or psychological state. We move through countless inner moods: joy, fear, desire, anger, hope, disappointment. In Indian philosophy, these inner states are called bhavams. As bhavams change, our Iswara bhavam, our perception of God, also changes. So while the mouth says, I believe in one God, the mind is actually relating to many versions of God, each shaped by a different inner state. Transactional faith and conditional God. When life is going well, God feels loving, just, and compassionate. When desires are fulfilled, prayers seem answered. But when expectations fail, something changes. Suddenly, God feels distant, silent, or even unfair. Most people don't lose faith through logical inquiry. They lose faith through unmet hopes. This reveals a deeper problem, not a lack of belief, but a lack of inner clarity. What is often called knowledge is actually ignorance refined into belief. The number of gods a person experiences corresponds directly to the number of mental states they pass through. The divine is not many. The mind is fragmented. 3. Why rituals and religions don't solve this. External rituals, religious labels, and shared traditions create structure, but not inner unity. Even within the same religion, interpretations differ, beliefs clash, communities divide. Why? Because inner fragmentation remains untouched. Without inner unity, belief stays emotional, historical, conditional. True one God worship is not about belief. It is about inner elevation and unified consciousness, and such inner unity is rare. 4. God is one, but perception is many. Think of a single person in your life. They are seen differently by a parent, a friend, a colleague, a rival. The person is one. Perceptions are many. The same applies to God. Until the mind becomes clear and unified, the idea of one God worship remains theoretical, not experiential. 5. The practical wisdom of many forms of God. Here's where ancient wisdom shows remarkable practicality. Human life is complex. Needs are many: emotional, material, intellectual, psychological. Different forms of the divine address different dimensions of life. Approaching multiple divine forms is not spiritual weakness. It is practical intelligence. It mirrors the many layers of human existence and provides clarity, comfort, and accessibility at each level. Multiplicity in worship arises not from confusion, but from deep understanding of human nature. Conclusion. Monotheism is a beautiful ideal, but ideals demand inner readiness. Without inner unity, the mind cannot sustain one-pointed devotion. And when the mind is many, God appears many. The problem is not God. The problem is our inner fragmentation. Until consciousness becomes one, monotheism remains an aspiration, not a lived reality. Personal takeaway. Instead of arguing about how many gods are correct, the deeper question is, how unified is the mind that is worshiping? Spiritual growth is not about reducing gods. It is about refining perception. When the mind becomes one, the divine, whatever form you approach, reveals its oneness naturally. If this reflection added value or clarity, share it with someone who enjoys thinking beyond beliefs. Because sometimes the most spiritual act is asking the most uncomfortable questions.